Hi, and thanks for joining me. I'm about to publish a series of boat painting videos. I've been coming to the slipway at Yelvertoft to do work on my boat over a period of weeks, and this is a preamble to the series. I want to make it clear that these are not instructional videos. These are simply me trying to improve the appearance of my boat, and I'm sure that I will succeed in doing that. Watching paint dry can be rather boring. I've got no experience of boat painting or anything quite like that, although back in 1974, yes, that's a long while back, I was 20 years old, I did repaint my father's Ford Corsair, which was at that time belonging to me. He'd bought it in 1968. It was one of the metallic colours, blue mink. When I got my hands on it, I wanted to change the colour and upgrade it, so I painted it electric Monza blue. I fitted a vinyl roof to it because I thought it would be impossible to spray paint the roof. I also fitted row-star wheels and various other improvements because I used it for rallying, believe it or not. Here is a couple of pictures side by side of me sitting on the bonnet when I was 20, and also the finished article. I was quite impressed with it, I must say. I was very pleased with the outcome. Never done anything like that before, and it was very satisfying to do that. So now history repeats itself. How many years later is it? 45 years, is it? 26, 19, 45 years, yeah. 45 years later, I'm going to paint my boat. I've already started painting the boat, and there will be a number of videos to watch. It's going to be at least 4, 5, 6, and I will publish these occasionally. It'll be an occasional series of videos about boat painting, but I must make it clear these are not instructional videos. I'm not suggesting you copy what I am doing. I've got no experience of boat painting. I must make that clear. You'll all have different thoughts. You might think, well, why is he doing it that way and not this way? Well, I wouldn't have done it like that. I would have done so and so. It doesn't matter. I am just improving the appearance of my boat, and that is what is important to me. So let's see how I get on. Each video will contain probably 2 days work on the boat, which may be consecutive days, or there may be days filmed apart, depending on my commitments, the weather and so forth. Hi, it's reached that point in the year when it's time to think about painting the boat. Not a task I'm particularly looking forward to, but it is something that needs to be done. So I'm just moving the boat round to the slipway. They don't like you working on your boats in the marina unless it's inside work, and the slipway is there to be used for doing external works. A lot of people just go out on the canal and find somewhere suitable to moor and do their work, but I thought for this first sort of main go, where I'm going to be rubbing down and doing some prep work, the slipway would be fine. It should be a fine day today, that's why I thought I'd make a start. Tomorrow rain is anticipated for most of the day, so I thought, well, let's get going. Got to start sometime. I don't know how long the whole job is going to take me. I'm just going to do it piece by piece as best as I can. See, there's a boat there on the canal. It's not turning in, that's all right then. Well, I should soon be at the slipway. I didn't check to see if any boats were already moored up. It's difficult to tell looking through. I can see at least one boat is moored up. But I did check with management the other day that it would be okay for me to come down here. These are some of the issues with the boat: scratches, faded paintwork, and a general need to tidy it up. The roof in particular is very bad. It's amazing how many trip hazards there are when you look along the roof of the boat. You've got the supports for the barge pole, for the plank, all the vents along the top, the mushroom vents, the chimney, and even I've got my electric cable running over the roof, so there you go. Well, this is what I'm looking like. I've got wrap round safety goggles over my glasses, got a breathing mask on, got this on to keep my head clean. I've put the earmuffs off, not so much for the sound, but more for keeping my ears clean, which I thought might be important with dust flying around everywhere. Anyway, let's see how I get on. It is very difficult to film and do the job, so I have to concentrate on doing the job. So I'm going to say bye for now, and we'll see later on how I'm getting on. This is the condition of the roof before I've even started to rub down. I'm using 180 grit sheets to start with, although I have bought a selection of different grades for different purposes. This is the old sanding disc. Not really sure how often I need to change them, but this has lost some of its rough feel, so thought I'd give it a go. It's just beginning to rain. It's not much at the moment. I don't want to get caught out, so I've decided to stop for a moment. Probably lunchtime anyway. I've not been wearing my glasses as the goggles keep steaming up. Well, that was a little unfortunate. Wasn't expecting it to rain quite like that. It's not really heavy, but it's not what you want to be out in either. So I thought I'd better come in, and looking at the clock, I am right, it is lunchtime. So cup of tea and something to eat, I think. I can see what I'm doing now that I've got my glasses on. The problem will be, of course, that now the roof is wet, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult when I start again after lunch. So see if I can dry it off and do the best I can. Such a shame, because I was working down one half of the roof and I wasn't too far from the front of the boat, so it was getting on quite well. Fortunately, the boat dried off and allowed me to continue. I'm trying to get rid of the mess left by removing the sticky backed letters from the old name. That's the roof and one side rubbed down. I now need to turn the boat so I can deal with the other side. And that's soon done. Well, I think, as you can see, rain has stopped play for today. I knew this was coming, so it's no surprise at all. Just have to grin and bear it. Trouble is, the next few days are also looking quite wet. I'm hoping by the weekend the sun is going to shine, it is forecast, and I'll be able to carry on. I've been laid up for a couple of days. The day after I did the rubbing down with the orbital sander, it rained all day, so no progress was made. It was pretty wet yesterday as well. I did manage to get out and do a few bits. I used one of those tools, multi-tool I believe they call it, and ground off a few old rivets which were along the top of the cabin and down the sides. I think there must have been a previous form of canopy or something that used these pairs of rivets to hold it steady or whatever, to mount it. I used the tool to grind the heads off of those. There was a little bit of bare steel visible, so I touched those in. There are little holes that I need to fill in, so I need to rub down, fill them in, rub down and so forth. So I'm going to do that now. It's not a brilliant day. The sun is due to come out for a couple of hours, and hopefully that will help. There is some movement on the canal today. When a boat comes past, my boat moves one way and then the other. It can actually be quite helpful. I know it is suggested that when you paint the boat you should take out all the windows, the mushrooms, all the fittings that can be removed. But I'm doing this job by myself. I don't think it's practical to remove everything. There is no rust along the edges of the windows or anything. The mushroom vents are watertight. I do think it would be unwise to disturb these. If I get any problems in the future, then yes, I'd look at them. But I would be worried about taking a window out by myself, holding it. It could slip, fall in the canal. So I think I do have to be sensible. The main task at the moment is to paint the roof and the sides. With regards to the mushroom vents, these look as though they've just had paint directly applied to them. And where the mooring lines, the centre mooring lines, have rubbed against them, the paint has rubbed off. So I was planning just to sort of wire wall these, probably use a red primer and then paint over the top of them. I've done some research, but I can't find anywhere that suggests how best to paint them. So we'll see how I get on. Well, I've cleaned up the mounts for the plank and the barge pole. I would like to get these primed today. I do just need to check the weather forecast. I think a little bit of rain is expected, not so much today. But you know, I have to crack on and get these jobs done. I'm just going to do a bit of rubbing down with the orbital sander, and then I'll set to with a bit of priming. I didn't actually have enough power to run the sander. That's why I had to switch the engine on. Well, I've just painted the plank and pole supports with red oxide. Before I started, there was a flurry of activity. 4 boats came past. I think it was 2 in each direction. I wasn't really paying a lot of attention. I was just about to start my painting. But one of the boats was grey in colour, and I sort of peered across. I am short-sighted, so I couldn't really see clearly who was on board. But I peered across and I thought, oh, it might be Jono from Journey with Jono. So I shouted out, "Is that Jono?" And I got the thumbs up, so presumably it was him. So hi to Jono. Apologies if it wasn't you and was an imposter, but I really couldn't see that clearly. Anyway, I've done the plank and pole supports, and I'm about to start the mushroom vents. I'm also going to give them a red oxide treatment before painting them blue again. The paint had been rubbing off, as I showed you previously, so I'm hoping the red oxide might stop that from happening. Well, I've just finished painting the mushroom vents, or the cowls, whatever you want to call them, with the red oxide primer. I had meant to say earlier, when I was painting the supports for the plank and the pole, that the sun was out and it was really quite hot in the sun. I'm using a small tin of red oxide primer, and I am using it, I'm dipping my brush in it, which I know isn't considered good practice, but it's only a small tin, so I'm not too worried about contamination. But a skin was forming on the primer, and I had to keep stirring it to keep it, sort of supple and loose and everything. And it does show you just a little bit of warmth in the sun, and suddenly you've got issues. It seemed to be drying straight away as I was putting it on. That's going to be the problem when I actually come to paint the boat. We need the right conditions for doing that. It can't be too hot. The boat itself can't be too hot. They do recommend painting the boat in the morning when it is cooler. So that's something I've got to face in the future. So for now, I'm happy with what I've done, and progress is being made. I think you can probably see behind me that it is rather cloudy. The sun has gone in for the moment. Rain is expected today, but I think it's about 4 o'clock. I'd need to go and check. I'm hoping it will hold off as long as possible, so at least what I've painted, my fittings and so forth, get a chance to dry off. It's looking a bit ominous, but there are blue skies up above. There's a slightly different view of me looking up, or the camera's looking down. Just to say that I will be moving the boat back to the marina today for a couple of days. The weather again isn't going to be very good tomorrow. I think come Sunday or Monday we're going to have a few days of better weather. So I'll come back again and carry on with what I'm doing. Many thanks for watching. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe. Bye for now.